All right, guys, we're going to start this off. Welcome back to On the Block. Matt Bailey, Igor Henriquez, Lamar Grant, Joe Verfar here. Okay, we're going to start with the Western Conference. We got Game 6 tonight. We were saying before that Chris Paul is out. Does that change anybody's viewpoint on not just the series? I'm not sure who actually had the Rockets winning the series. I had Golden State in 6.
I had Golden State in 5.
I had Golden State in 6.
I can't remember what I said.
I
remember saying I hope that Houston to win, yeah.
So, like I said, it's a big favorite tonight for Golden State. 10-point favorites. Most likely going to win at home, especially without Chris Paul. But how do you guys think this series plays out?
Well, I think right now it's definitely headed to 7 games. I think when you're missing a guy like Chris Paul, who's pretty much borderline NBA, All-NBA, I think it's a big loss. So I think they'll figure out things as far as how they want to play without him, because there's a good chance he might not play in Game 7 as well. So I think if they do lose Game 6, it isn't the end of the world. They still have Game 7 at home. And having that Game 6, that one game without Chris Paul, will give them a chance to figure out how they want to do their rotations, what lineups work and what doesn't work for them. And that way they could come best prepared for a Game 7. But even if they had Chris Paul, I think that Golden State on their own floor, they would have taken Game 6 against the Rockets. I mean, this is a team with KD in the last 2 years that has lost only 3 games prior to the series against the Rockets in the playoffs. So I think, and one of those coming at home. So I think that they'll be prepared. I think that they're still trying to make adjustments of their own without playing with Iguodala. But I think at the end of the day, they still got 2 former MVPs. And they have a lot of offensive firepower. And I seen that in Game 5 that Klay Thompson stepped up as well. I mean, he had a poor Game 4. So I think that they'll come out swinging in Game 6. And I mean, Game 7 will be a free-for-all in Houston.
Oh yeah, I'm still going with Golden State based on the Paul injury. Even then, like, to me, if Houston would have knocked these guys out, even though Houston was the number 1 seed, it still would have been a massive upset in my opinion. Because considering the pedigree that the Warriors have, the 4 All-Stars, probably maybe 4 of the top 20, 25 players in the league, would have been a massive. Even losing in 7, which without Paul, I think that is the likely outcome. I'd still say that's a pretty good W for the Houston Rockets, because considering the fact that most people, I remember after Game 1, most of the people had them getting swept.
Yeah.
So
wait, what's a good W?
Even losing in 7.
You see, that's
what I was going to say.
That's the
thing. You think that Dan Tony is going to say good job, guys?
But there's no moral victories and or whatever. But again, how many people actually gave them a legit chance to win the series? I didn't see anybody.
Well, you gotta
even taking it to 7, what was going to be a surprise.
I think some people had Houston winning. Some of the guys on the panel with Shaq and those guys, I want to say maybe Barkley took Houston. Someone did. Well, yeah, because he doesn't like Golden State anyways. But
if that is any of their mentalities, then they deserve to lose. But if Boston should be winning, Boston should. I know we're in the West, but Boston should win the series. If they lose, they shouldn't sit back and say, "Look how far we made it without Kyrie and them." You guys played good. You adjusted. You rallied. You're a better team than Cleveland.
So
you should win.
So you don't think that Boston, considering the fact that they don't want to get into the East, don't have 2 of their best players making it all the way to the East Final and losing in Game 7. Most people had them maybe losing in the first round, and that's still a moral victory.
But most people is different from what they believe inside the locker room.
Sure.
And when you know that you're a team that is formidable, and you found ways to play despite the injuries, then you got to believe in yourself. And I feel like in that series that Boston should win Game 7. But with Houston, it's a different dynamic, because you're going against a team that 2 years ago was a 73-win team in the regular season, and they're the defending champions. And they also have 2 MVPs. So it's a little bit of a different dynamic. I just think that Golden State is a better team in comparison to Houston versus, Boston and Cleveland.
Especially when everyone's healthy.
But at the end of the day, Houston, they have all the tools there to win. They have a team, they have a player in James Harden who's more than likely going to be the MVP for this season. And also you have players that are hungry for their first title. So I mean, there really isn't no excuses. If they do lose, then, it sucks. But it's no excuse to just say, hey, we won 3 games, we're just going to leave it at that. And if whatever happens.
No, I'm not saying it's an excuse.
You guys won 65 games in the regular season. Mm-hmm. You have home court advantage for that Game 7, if necessary. So, there really is no excuses. And you got to look at a coach like Mike D'Antoni. He's been there before as far as knocking on the door of the NBA Finals. So he should be the primary source for wanting to establish some sense of urgency in terms of winning this series and going on to the next level.
And we saw Houston winning Golden State already.
Yeah.
Right? Like that was, and that been a low scoring game. It's
With
not,
Chris Paul.
These haven't been shootouts like we thought they were, like everybody thought they were going to be in the West with all these totals at like 225. Yeah. These have been like in the 90s, low 100s. And I was going to say, like, Houston has the horses to carry this. Boston has the next man up mentality. They did that when both guys went down. Houston has proven players. They got 6 men a year, Eric Gordon. You have Ryan Anderson, who's sitting on the bench. Joe Johnson, Mr. Fourth Quarter, whatever. He's older, but still, these are still guys that can. I know, but these are still guys that can chip in. Next man up. Who do you guys think has a big game for Houston today? Someone's gonna have to step up. Ariza.
I think Trevor Ariza. It might not be enough to make them win, but I think he'll put out a performance that makes you look towards him in Game 7 as a guy who will step in and fill that void. Even though he's already a starter, but he's gonna probably have increased minutes.
I'd be surprised, and this is the part I was talking about. I didn't mean blow up by 50. At the 6-minute mark of the game, if any of the starters are in for Golden State, when really you want them playing the whole game, playing the whole game, and then Game 7, you guys play the same amount of minutes, and then you go at it again, as opposed to them resting for 7-8 minutes of the fourth quarter, and then coming in fresh for Game 7 to beat you up in your gym. So that's why Chris Paul was there. I still thought they would have lost this game in Golden State, but it would have been like a battle, like a grit thing, right? Sure. And they still could have won, but I wouldn't bet on it. And then Game 7, I believe they could have won. So even if Chris Paul comes Game 7, man, he's going to have to do some Jordan-type stuff. Which he can, I believe in.
I don't think that injury looked a little serious. Yeah, that's not going to take 4 days to recover from that.
Hamstring injury.
He's going to need to get some kind of magic done on that thing. I don't see that guy playing. Even if he's playing, he's not going to last too long.
He's always hurt in playoffs.
Yeah. But it's too bad because we both sides, like even Curry's been hurt, Clay's been hurt, Iguodala's been hurt. There's been a lot of injuries in this playoffs, and like we've been saying, like next man up. And I was saying in our group chat also, this is a third. This will be the third finals or fourth. For Golden State and Cleveland, like both teams. You know what I mean? Like don't get me wrong, Cleveland's a totally different team, but Golden State, the majority of their core guys have been there. That's a lot of basketball. Yeah. And maybe we're seeing that effects of it, especially guys like Iguodala who got to be, like 33, 34 by now, playing an extra 21 games on top of the 82 that you're doing in the regular season. Maybe it's catching up to them.
The guy that I want to see step up for Golden State, I feel Draymond Green has kind of had somewhat of a subpar series. Mm-hmm. I think that I wouldn't say he's been exposed defensively, but he's been challenged a lot. And I think in order for them to not only win this series, but win the NBA Finals, they're going to need more from him. Not necessarily on the offensive side of the ball, but on the defensive side, because he's kind of been the heart and soul of that team. And I feel like a lot has been delegated to Durant, but he's just a guy where, he'll get his 30 points, but you got Draymond Green, in addition to, let's say, Iguodala, he's the spark. So I want to see more from him because he's kind of escaped a lot of criticism right now. I see a lot of blame going towards KD and even somewhat Stephen Curry, but I feel like Draymond Green really needs to step up for a guy who is an all-NBA defensive player and an NBA All-Star. I feel like he needs to start playing like it, in this series especially.
So I think everybody here is pretty much set on Golden State. And any last
Golden State.
For this game, right?
For the series.
Right? But I have hope for
you have hope for Houston.
I'm saying Houston for hope.
It's also unlikely that Chris Paul, you guys don't think he's going to, it seems unlikely he's going to play in Game 7. Do you think that without him in Game 7 they can still pull it off?
No, not without him.
That's
if he plays, my hope is
I think they can, but the percentages are less. But you never know. I mean,
I don't think they have much of a shot.
James Harden is a guy who's recorded a 60-point triple-double in the season.
Yeah, but he sucks. He's missing. He's missed his last 19 threes.
No, he's been bad.
He's missed his last.
And they've still won 3 games. So imagine if he's placed at his MVP level.
Yeah. You're right. But I don't trust him.
I think Eric Gordon's going to
play defense.
Eric Gordon's going to need a massive game. I think Clint Capela's kind of been.
Both. I was going to say Capella and Green, they've both kind of been forced off the court at times, right? Because Green isn't doing much against Capella because he's just too big and athletic for him if they go up on the alley-oop. But even Draymond Green with his shot has been so bad.
Yeah,
it's an ugly shot as it is, and it's been bad. He's been wide open on these threes. He's not hitting them, and they need him to space the floor more so, just space for every player because when he's not hitting his shots, they don't have to guard him on offense. He's not doing anything.
Yeah,
he's just like a LeBron without a jump shot instead of just like a good playmaker passing the ball.
Well, it's
right?
going to be interesting because this is the first time they faced elimination since the 2016 finals. They haven't faced elimination anywhere close. Mm-hmm. So again,
of course they did. They were down 3-1 against OKC.
No, but that was
before. That was before the finals.
Was that game one? That was their first championship?
Because
2 years ago.
Yeah, it was the same playoffs when they lost to Cleveland, but it was before. It was the round before.
Yeah. So they're saying after that was Cleveland.
Last year, they never were in this position of elimination. That's what I meant.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're having hope for Houston? Yeah. We all, no, that's fine.
I would like Houston too.
Yeah, we would all like Houston, but then at the same time,
it'd be something different.
It would be something different. But you know what? Houston Celtics, then that would be kind of a little bit different than everybody expected. Still get ratings because Boston, obviously, they're fans there. But okay, so we'll skip not skip. I think we're pretty much done with the West. The Chris Paul injuries kind of made it a little bit tough for us to kind of talk about that. But we're going to go to the East right now. I know there's going to be some flames thrown right now.
Oh, yeah.
Lamar's got some dragon flames coming out of his nose. Let's go. What do you guys like? You can start. Go.
I want to make sure I'm retiring. I retired from. I'm not going to fight witnesses anymore. I'm done. I thought that if I brought enough truth that they would see the light, but they just won't. It's like the Matrix, the guy that wants to go back in, even if they're free, they want to go back in. So I'm going to leave that alone. All I'm going to say is they're going to lose in Game 7, right? Now,
Who?
Who's losing?
Cleveland's going to lose.
Okay.
So what I'm saying is, but these are just the factors I like to say, and I won't say another word. These are the factors. Boston's missing their two best players. I don't want to hear anything about LeBron and his help. If you're the star, and if it takes 40 to win, then score 40. It's not a big deal. Score your 40. If nobody can stop you, you can score 40. Score 40 and win this Game 7. I hear that you can. I'm hearing.
We're going to let everyone. I want everybody to finish their talks today. So keep going.
I'm hearing don't count against LeBron in the Game 7. That's what I'm hearing.
I'm hearing that
right?
too.
And if he were to win, that's what they would say. Don't bet against LeBron. LeBron's the king. All this stuff. But when he loses, there's sprinkles of excuses. Jared can't shoot. The team Kevin Love is hurt. It's a magic. Yeah, fatigue. He played a lot of minutes.
He needs oxygen.
He needs a lot of minutes. But yet when he was blowing out Boston and thing, you're playing with 3 minutes left. You're up 20. You're still in the game. Why is fatigue an issue? You don't play defense. You're resting a lot on defense. What's the fatigue for? All right. When they were beating Boston in Cleveland. And he was out there with up 20, and he's still in the game with 4 minutes left.
For the witnesses.
Okay, I'm not done. So what I'm saying is that I'm hearing fatigue, but he's resting on defense every play. Even the greatest witnessers that are obsessed have admitted that. So there's nothing he can say to me to change that. He does not play defense. It's clear as day. So he's resting on defense, like not running back.
Was that him with that layup and that Terry Rozier block yesterday? Or did I
the one play, the witnesses, right? This one play. He went in on it.
Let me send you a 10-minute video of a 10-minute video of last week alone where he didn't cross half court.
How many NBA games win with the team scoring 45 points?
How
many victories has there been in the NBA with a team scoring 45 points?
A team scoring
45 points, yeah.
None.
Exactly. So my point is, the man can score 40, the man can score 45, but if the next guys give you 2, 5, 3, and 2, you're not winning anything. I'm sorry. The man can score 45 points, 50 points, 60 points. If he doesn't get anything, I was looking at the stats yesterday because I knew this was going to come. Kevin Love is the second guy on the team in points, averaging 14 points. 14 points. Supposed all-star. Nobody else, and then the playoffs is anywhere close. Boston has about 4 guys or 5 guys averaging higher than that. It's LeBron, it's Love, and then you have guys. Again, what are you going to get from George? I can go through the list.
I want you to go through Houston's list right now. Name me, other than those 2 guys, name me anybody that's probably averaging 15 points.
He doesn't care because he's not witnessing.
But here's the thing. Houston, is Eric Gordon not having a good series?
No. None of them are playing.
Eric Gordon not hit a massive 3 to win the other game.
Corbett hit a massive 3 too.
Again. Corbett hit a massive 3 to win one of the games?
You said Gordon hit a massive 3. Corbett hit a massive 3?
Gordon, Ariza's been better defense. What are those guys doing offensively and defensively?
What's your point, Igor? What are you trying to get at?
My point is simple, is that the man, he said it in the group chat, it's LeBron with about 5 guys on his back. Because if he doesn't have instrumental games, again, it's different point. In Boston especially, I'll give you, and again, I'm gonna do this. This is the Shannon Shop. This is my time now.
You cut me off, by the way. I let you cut me off because you have nothing to say.
I'll give you a thing to do. Again, what are you gonna get from certain guys? And guys in Cleveland, they like George Hill does amazing things. No, I'm going a little bit of a soliloquy. George Hill got 20 points yesterday. How much has George Hill combined got in any of the Boston games? Altogether, he had 15 points in 3 games? Mm-hmm. 3 games, he had 15 points altogether. J.R. Smith, complete ghost half the time, does nothing but fouls and does
That's LeBron's guy.
And does stupidity. Yeah, LeBron guy. And LeBron has to own it. That some of these guys he gave some massive. Tristan hasn't been terrible because he's done a great job on Al Horford defensively. I'm not that worried about Kevin Love missing tomorrow because Kevin, as much as he when he gets hot, he's a very good shooter. He's not great defensively. He gets some boards, sure, but the problem is simply if LeBron actually gets some help hitting some shots, the games are reputedly close and they win. He doesn't, they lose. It's as simple as that. Okay. 45, 46, man's averaging 35, 9, and 9, and someone's complaining about the man in the playoffs. You kidding me?
He's a numbers guy. That's okay. He's a numbers guy. So
35, 9, and 9, you kidding me?
We got to get spread it around.
I've been eager to interject because you keep on saying, what are the other guys going to do? But I want to know, what are you referencing specifically? Because if you look at it, he's been getting a lot. He's been getting enough. I won't say a lot, sorry. He's been getting enough. I mean, the reality is in the NBA, role players don't play as well on the road.
Sure.
So that's just the dynamic he's going to have to face if there's with Game 7. But to this point, he's been getting help off the bench from Jeff Green. He's been producing, especially in Game 5.
In wins.
Yes.
But how's Jeff Green been in Boston?
How's Boston been?
Again, he's a role player.
Again,
so it should be expected that he's not going to play as well on the road in Boston. But I think what you, like many LeBron and Cleveland fans, have been suffering from
speak? You keep hogging the mic. Let him speak.
He's a Cleveland fan.
You're a Cleveland fan, all right.
You've been spoiled because LeBron has always had help. Whether it was in Miami with Wade or previously in Cleveland with Irving. But now he's doing what a king is supposed to be doing. He's supposed to, take the torch and hold it and run. So games like he put out in Game 5 is what he's supposed to do. In Game 6, is what he's supposed to do. He's proven he can do it. I expect him to do it in Game 7. And I believe he will get help. But the thing with basketball is it's not one side of the ball. It's two sides. So what we were touching on previously is something that he's going to have to do. Not just save up all his energy to perform on the offensive end, but perform on the defensive end as well. Because we've seen Jason Tatum, who's a 20-year-old rookie, and Jaylen Brown, who's a 21-year-old sophomore, pretty much not necessarily light up LeBron, but have their way and show no fear of him. So I feel like the way he's been able to implement his style of play on the offensive end, whether in Cleveland or Boston, he's going to need to do that somewhat in this one game, in Game 7, on the defensive end as well. For the fact that he needs to set the tone for his team, for when guys like Clarkson come off the bench or Larry Nance, we've seen energy from him. Also, Tristan Thompson, he's been reliable, whether he starts or comes off the bench. So they know that, okay, this is how we're going to play today. We're going to give it our all. They follow his lead. So, I mean, we can talk about Koiber and J.R. Smith's missing open or hitting open shots all we want, but I think this team starts, and ends with LeBron. And it has to happen on both sides of the court. It has to happen on the defense. It has to happen on the offense. And I feel like, it's still going to be Boston in 7 because Boston's been undefeated at home. I feel like they've shown throughout these playoffs, whether they play Milwaukee or Philly and Chicago and Cleveland, that they're going to stick to their guns. It doesn't matter who's injured. It doesn't matter who starts, whether it's Aeon Barnes or if it's Marcus Morris. They're going to play gritty. They're going to be in your face. They're going to make it tough for you. And they have added incentive when they have their fans behind them who know that, they're competing for basketball and NBA supremacy as one of the most historic franchises. So I feel like, LeBron's legacy is on the line. So he can't wait till, Jeff Green or Tristan Thompson. His legacy is on the line at the end of the day. So he has to set the tone not only on the offensive side of the court, but on the defensive side of the court.
You have to go back to when you
Yeah,
got cut off.
I was cut off. But it's expected. The truth is very hard to hear. Stories are good to hear, so you can listen to them. You know you're talking sense. But what I was saying is that the first excuse they're going to make is help, right? Yeah. My point is that LeBron had help in Miami. Wade and Bosh never averaged lower than 14, and they got smoked by an old Dallas team. Then they got smoked by the Spurs. So what he's trying to say, and witnessers, is anytime LeBron gets help, he will not lose. That's been proven to be a lie. So what I'm saying to you is in this series, if LeBron loses, they have an excuse, whatever it's made of. It doesn't really matter.
Don't matter.
Yeah, but I don't mind that, right? Now, what they would say is that we have an excuse. If they beat Boston, I'm furious at Boston, right? And they have every right to make a parade about him. I can't say anything. When LeBron won his first title, I was furious, but I can't say anything. Even though he stepped over Draymond, they kept whatever. They still had 2 more games to win and they lost. So I can't say nothing. I'm not the type to make an excuse, but what he does is not going to prove something. He has to show me something, and it can't be him hitting a shot in a tie game and then them telling me he's clutch. So the only point I have to make with this series is, if he loses to this team that doesn't have their 2 best players, when he's considered the best player in the league, and he's compared to Jordan for some reason, and he's not even near that. He's below even McGrady in my eyes. But wait, I said in my eyes, and I'm saying in reality, what's your favorite color?
My favorite color?
Yeah.
Stephen McGrady. That's
no, but color. What's your favorite color?
It's below Kobe. I don't know about McGrady.
Okay, fine, that's fine. What's your favorite color? Blue. Mine's blue, right? So that's your opinion. That's my opinion. I said McGrady is my opinion. Yeah. They're taking it as fact, he's losing your mind, right? But I never said that as fact. This guy's blue.
LeBron's never scored 14 points in 35.
Okay, right now, that's not my point. Okay, fine. So what I'm saying is that in the situation where if Jordan, which they're comparing to Kobe, which I'm saying would never lose to a team Game 7 when they're missing their 2 best players, that alone would be more motivation for them to destroy. They would even be embarrassed that a team without their 2 best players took Michael Jordan and Kobe to a Game 7. That would be right away. But they're painting the narrative where this team is so bad that if he were to just get to the finals, it's better than a championship.
The loser mentality participation.
This is a loser mentality, but
Houston, yeah.
Do you think that it's impressive if he's able to go into Boston without already Kyrie Irving and Kevin Love?
But Kyrie's on Boston.
I know, but he's not playing. For the fact that he's not with LeBron, and for the fact that LeBron doesn't have Kevin Love, would that somewhat impress you?
No.
He's able to...
What I'm saying is, that's what he's saying, but I'm going to talk the reality. The reality is that Kevin Love does not equal up a Hayward and Kyrie Irving. So why would I be more impressed? I'm looking at this team. I'm not once from the first series of the NBA playoffs did I say we're missing these 2 guys. This is the squad we have, and I believe in them. And they don't have an excuse. If they lose, I'm not going to say, well, the only reason LeBron beat them, because no, I'm not saying that. I will not ever bring up those 2 players. This team on the floor can beat this team, and I've seen it.
Definitely.
So if LeBron were to lose, I'm not thinking about the 2 guys missing. That's what witnessers do. So if someone has a toothache, that's the reason they lost. What's his name? J.R. Smith lost his contact in the 4th quarter, so it's unfair. That's how they move. I'm not doing that kind of stuff.
I agree with that.
Okay, that's all I'm saying.
I'm just saying that even as an anti-LeBron guy in a sense, I'm not really like I'm a reluctant praiser. I do think that the stretch that he's been on this playoff has been impressive. I feel like he's had some adversity, some of it inflicted by his own right. I mean, all the trades, I don't care. He's the de facto GM. All the trades he made at the deadline.
Absolutely.
All the stuff, I mean, it's on him, but I feel like he's trying to make amends for it. You know, NBA record, 740-point scoring outings in this playoff alone.
Ty Jordan in '89.
I don't want to hear no more. Wait, that's a jump in because
what did he? I just want to hear
44 numbers.
740 point in one playoff.
Ty Jordan in '89.
Okay,
Ty Jordan. One behind Jerry West.
But just one question. I don't know the answer. But I'm going to check if you don't know. Sure. How many games did he do that in?
It doesn't matter.
No, that's a big matter.
How many games did he do in this playoffs?
Like, you know how they said Jordan
probably
has more field goals than Kareem Abdul-Jabbar or something like that?
Oh, yeah.
But what they failed to tell people...
ratio.
No, I'm saying that it took LeBron 50 more games. That's what I'm saying. If Jordan scored 45 games in 6 games and LeBron did it in 15, there's a difference.
Before we switch, if we have to base it on
every game, you say he got 4.
No, the record is how many? 5 40-point games?
No, it's
8. 8 40-point games. So Jordan did that in
7.
No, Jordan did it in 7. The record is Jerry West. He has 8.
James has 8.
Yeah, and Jordan, I don't know how many.
Okay, that's what I meant. So if Jordan did it 7 times in 14 games, and LeBron did it 7 times in 27 games, then there's a difference to me. I'm just making up a number. That's not a difference to you?
Well, why is when it's 27? It's not 27.
There's a difference, but then the LeBron fans can counter with, hey, well, Jordan did it in his 4th season, whereas LeBron's doing it in his 15th.
So hold on, to talk about this, the Jordan and LeBron stuff for me is getting harder and harder because I keep thinking about the hand check rule, which doesn't exist anymore. Yeah. And when LeBron's offensively hand checking people, that's allowed, right? But when you put a hand on someone or you blow on the man, like Lance did, it's a foul. So it's very tough. Like I said, I respect LeBron, and I'm going to jump into what Don said yesterday in the group. I have to put Don on the block right now on the record. But at the same time, it's like you have to. I really appreciate what LeBron's doing, but I'm not a fool. I'm not a blind fool where I'm a witness being like, oh, okay, you know what? He's the flavor of the month, so it's like, let me bow down like a lot of people are doing.
Flavor of the month?
No, the stretch that he's in right now. How long has he been in the playoffs for? When he was in Miami, shit the bed in the 4th quarter, everybody forgets about that, right? Yeah. When he took the team to the finals and got swept, it was, participation rate in a bad team. Right? All this stuff. It's like, if you're as good as you say you are, and Jordan lost to Detroit a bunch of times, and you said,
and Boston.
You make that face, but you know what he's saying. That doesn't fool me. You're here. That's like you don't understand.
Actually, just look, I don't want to cut you off, but I saw an article based on like who's had the better teammates and so forth throughout the years and all so forth. And really, realistically, LeBron won, but LeBron only won because Jordan, when he first got in the league, his teams were god awful. Like, really god-awful. When it came to the prime years, Jordan's teams won all those championships.
Because of Jordan.
That's cool, but they did not resemble that Miami Heat team that was a bunch of Hall of Famers. Like that.
Scotty, Horace. I'm telling you right now. Like,
you think that team is better than the Miami team?
Well, again,
on paper,
how good do you think Scottie Pippen is? We can get into this argument. Is Scottie Pippen a better player than Dwayne Wade was?
I think
Scottie's a top 50 player.
Well, including defense and like I'd say he's like a Kawhi Leonard type guy.
Okay,
right?
and you're telling
because of Jordan.
Oh, but see, but that's the thing. If he's a top,
no, but when Jordan retired, Scottie was an all-star.
Exactly, they won 55 games.
What I meant by that is when LeBron teamed up with Wade, Wade was
Scottie Pippen
on Chicago. He said
they won 55 games that year. That Jordan was going to play baseball. 55 games.
Are you saying that Jordan's replaceable?
No, I'm not saying Jordan's replaceable. I'm saying that Michael is the best scorer that I've ever seen.
Now we're gonna marginalize
there's
the same article or the same thing that he's reading from. He's ignoring the other side. I know exactly what he watched when they said that. They also said that the highest points per game that Jordan ever played with was 22 with Pippen, and LeBron had 28 with Kyrie Irving and 26 with Dwayne.
But that was when finals games were in the 80s and the 90s, so we can't compare.
No, but I'm saying that LeBron had a player on his team that had 28 and 26.
Sky into it, and then if you look at Bosh, sure. At the end of the day, was Bosh better than Dennis Rodman or all those guys? Not personally to me. I would have taken Rodman as a better rebounder. Bosh is a better scorer. You look at Horace Grant was an all-star a lot of years too. And to me, Bosh is overhyped.
If you want to go down this road real quick, because I want to get back, I'll just answer this question. You want to talk about Chicago being so good? Maybe some scorers on Boston, not role players. Get you. Sorry,
but here's the thing.
Let's answer that question. Scorers on the Bulls teams. On the Bulls teams, what they want. Scores.
You got the best 3-point, one of the best 3-point shooters in Steve Kerr.
Hold on.
Steve Kerr wasn't one of the best.
He's a scorer.
One of the best 3-point shooters of all time. Steve Kerr.
He's a scorer.
He's a scorer though.
No, but he's like.
Is he better than Kyle Korver?
Desperate.
Who's better?
Steve Kerr was better than Kyle Korver.
Not even. I don't.
You don't think so?
No.
Steve Kerr
could not guard a soul. And Kyle Korver can get you 20-something shooting threes. I think
Kyle Korver has been an all-star. Has Steve Kerr been an all-star?
Have you looked at Steve Kerr's numbers?
But has Steve Kerr been an all-star? Kyle Korver has been an all-star.
Thank you.
Wally Zerbiak was an all-star, man.
But listen, we're talking about Kerr versus. Listen, we're talking about Kerr versus Korver.
So you're undergrading Kerr.
You're saying that Kerr. You're saying that Kerr is better.
Tony Kukoc.
Well, you're saying that Kerr is better than Korver.
Ron Harper.
Let's not change the narrative here.
I can go back to all those Bulls teams. They were stacked.
Let's not change the narrative here.
Ron Harper wasn't the same player. He was good in the Clippers and Cleveland. He wasn't the same Ron Harper.
So those 6 years that Jordan won the championship, those Bulls teams. What team was better than the Jordan Bulls that were anywhere close to the Jordan Bulls? Give me the team.
Hold on.
If you switched your question, that's what
I'm saying.
You switched your question.
He's on the.
He asked you for a score. He asked you for a score. Look where we got.
Look where we got. Look where we got. Hold on. I'm gonna have to go back to my points because you guys have been talking for a while. I want to get back to the East final here. You guys were talking about Harden, and everybody likes to shit on Harden for his defense, and he has those times where he sleeps for sure. LeBron does the same thing, right? LeBron can guard a point guard for 5 minutes if he has to. That's great. Then he'll huff and puff back on the other side of the court. That's fine. How many people have Boston losing in the first round? You did. A lot of people did. But somehow this team's going to beat LeBron in the finals when you had them losing in the first round. Right? So like that's what I mean. All these people want to say, Cleveland's this, Cleveland's that. Boston's missing their 2 best players. If you would have ran out this starting lineup, if Vegas had win totals for this starting lineup, missing their 2 best players, I think they were in like 54, 55. It would have been in the 40s, mid 40s, low 40s. Nobody knew what Jason Tatum was going to be. Nobody thought that Jaylen Brown was going to come up like this.
But see, there you go. The Boston guys were underrated because we wouldn't see exactly what they could do for the majority of the year.
But we saw what Cleveland did the whole year. They were terrible because they weren't trying.
And realistic, in a year or two, what do you see half those guys as being? Jason Tatum looks like he's going to be an all-star.
Jaylen Brown's probably going to be an all-star.
Terry Rozier looks like he can be a legit starting point guard for a lot of teams in the league.
There's a lot of starting point guards that are very good though.
You don't think Terry's had a great? He had a great game 6.
But what's Terry getting? What's Terry scoring? He's not doing like all.
My statement won't take long. What they do is they glorify the players that are beating LeBron and making them look like they're better. Rozier's a great player. Tatum, these guys.
He's not great.
I'm saying good. That's what I mean. I don't mean great as a Hall of Famer. What they consider all-star is someone making an all-star team. Dennis Rodman made 2 all-star teams in his life. The greatest rebounder of all time made 2 all-stars. They make it sound like he went there 17 times in a row. There's a difference between making an all-star team and being an actual all-star. First team, second team, all-star, actual all-star game, 15, 16, 7 times in a row. These are all-stars. Not someone who's a good player that can make an all-star team because they have a breakout year. These Boston teams are a bunch of very good players, which is why I picked them, and I kept saying they were one piece away.
Well coached too.
Yeah, well coached. That's when I started liking them because of the coach, actually, not the players. And then I saw how he gelled them, which is the problem I had with Toronto. I said they're good players, but they don't gel. This year they tricked me and never again. But they tricked me. Yeah. So what I'm saying is that this is the thing. So what they do is try to elevate them, call them all-stars, call them great.
When they win, it's easier.
When they win, because LeBron has no players, right?
And this is Cleveland fans. This is not Igor. But some of your friends, I won't mention that. But it's all LeBron fans who jump from team to team, and that's fine. But
wait, sorry, one thing. You said that he had Boston, or a lot of guys had Boston. Not just you, but a lot of people do. What I'm also going to add to that point is a lot of them were terrified of Philly, and Boston destroyed Philly. But they were, and every Cleveland fan.
And Jay Nostradamus warned both of you guys about both those teams. Philly was a pretender, and Boston was for real.
Well, I think Philly's okay. It's just Ben.
I'm talking about
Boston and 7.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is the team that they were scared of the most for Cleveland, witnessers. I wouldn't really call him I wouldn't call Igor a witnesser, but he's very close. So what I'm saying is that all witnessers were terrified of Philly only in the East. If Philly's gone, they're going straight to the finals. And that team completely embarrassed Philly to me. It embarrassed them to me. So what I'm saying is that after that case, after that destruction, they're still acting like they could win, and then I don't know.
I'm not end with this, but I just want to say, Cleveland fans, and I don't want to look at you because I feel like I'm just arguing, but Cleveland fans, every series there's a different side to every story, right? They win, the Kings here. They lose, and it's all of a sudden, oh my God, Joel Embiid looks like a Hall of Famer. When a lot of people were like, oh, Cleveland, Philly's not even going to make the playoffs, they're not going to be good. They run into Boston, Boston's going to be a bad team, whatever. And all of a sudden they win, and it's like, oh, Jaylen Brown's this, Jason Tatum's that, Al Horford, maybe he really is an all-star, who you don't like. A lot of people don't.
I don't like him with Andre Drummond trying to make the all-star team over.
But all these guys, what I'm saying is they play basketball the right way. You look at Boston, you want to play for a team like Boston. If you're any kind of ball player, from point guard to center, does anybody want to play with Cleveland? We talked about this before.
No.
Do you think that there's a reason why these guys are not doing so well on the road or at home? Is it because they're not good players? You think if you swapped Kyle Korver on the Raptors or on Philly, you think he wouldn't be even better?
You know what? LeBron is
tough. It's tough to play.
To me, he's a glorified, bigger version of Westbrook. Westbrook gets a lot of hate. I'm not going to say LeBron's a stat piler, but, there's going to be a trade-off. LeBron, he's a heavy usage guy, and some people are going to suffer because of it. I mean, they acquired Rodney Hood, and he was like a 17-point per game guy. He's not a crap guy. I know he had to blow off with Tyronn Lue, but there's no way with his skill set, with his ability that's been proven as recent as this year, prior to going to Cleveland, that he should be on the bench. So I look at it
Jay
like
Crowder, all these guys, all these players.
Guy's been terrible to the shooting.
Well, how do you expect him to be hitting his shot when he's not in rhythm? You know, he's been moved from starting.
You're a soccer guy, right? So like,
shout out Real Madrid.
Shout out Real Madrid. Impressive. You're a soccer guy. Ronaldo needs someone to get him the ball to do his job, right? Now he has the best midfielders in the world getting him the ball, right? What about LeBron and like Rodney Hood? Rodney Hood is the guy that, like we said, 16, 17 point guys. Jay Carter, we saw what he did in Boston. We saw what he did in Dallas. Defense, corner threes, Utah, when he went there after everybody said he was done, all of a sudden was on fire in Utah. Players seem like they're going to Cleveland to die.
Yeah.
Right? And all of a sudden everybody's like, oh, he's trash. He's trash. No, hold on. Let's look at the real picture here. These players are not trash. Larry Nance, when he's on the Lakers, they wanted to pick him over Randall. Mm-hmm. All these guys that were going, George Hill got $55 million for whatever reason. I always liked him. He's a little bit older, but I've always been a fan of his. Giving Lowry problems, great defensive guy. Goes there. Oh, why are his assists down? He's getting 1 assist a game, 2 assists a game. The ball's not in his hands.
He's not bringing
What
up
are
the
you
ball
supposed to do? Are you supposed to make a real point guard, like a pass-first point guard, a spot-up shooter now? Like, they're ruining everybody's game.
So what you're saying is that LeBron doesn't facilitate.
I don't want to hear numbers that he's getting 10 assists in a triple-double.
Yeah.
Because when he goes to the net 5 times and everybody's like this.
Thank you. Man, Joe, I'm proud of you.
Right? What do you do there?
I'm going to tell you what I'm proud about Joe is 2 years ago, I swear to you, Joe sounded just like you. I'm telling you, I'm being, no, you see how it looks like we're all attacking Igor, but it's not attacking Igor.
It's witnessers.
Joe used to sound exactly like him, and they used to both do it to me, right? So God saved me, and now it's still, you know. So what I'm saying is, just to piggyback, because you're saying everything, everything you're saying is perfect.
It's gospel.
Everything he's saying is perfect. It's beautiful. But what I'm saying is just to piggyback on that point. If we were to take the stats, and I mean even Wade, I'm talking Bosch, I'm talking all these guys. Every one of these guys, when they play after LeBron leaves, I think every single person on Cleveland, their numbers will increase when LeBron leaves or if they get traded, except for Hill. I think Hill's done. I like him, but he's not like anything.
Well, of course they're going to increase it, and they're not doing much as is.
But the thing is, not even...
But you're saying
0 points can increase.
That's the problem. Why aren't they doing as much?
Thank you.
Okay.
But why?
So your starting guards give you 3 points in the night on like what was it? 0 for 15 shooting. Mm-hmm. You're telling me they're not getting opportunities to get their numbers? They're not doing it because they can't hit shots.
Is it a big coincidence though?
They can't hit shots.
Is it a coincidence?
The reality is a lot of those guys, and I'll take the reverse on you. A lot of those guys, Tristan would not have gotten his money without LeBron.
No, for sure, yeah.
A lot, even I'm not even sure if J.R. Smith would be in the league.
Did they get their money because of their performance, or did they get their money because LeBron publicly lobbied for them? They got their money because LeBron publicly lobbied for them.
LeBron's the key. But that again, the star player wants his teammates.
Why did you want those guys who can't play? If you have such a high ball IQ, why were you forcing your organization to pay these bums
one-dimensional guys?
Okay, they struggled. He got rid of a bunch. And again, we can go back to
my question.
We can go back to the
I'd like
trades.
my question answered, please.
With
his high ball IQ, why did he force the Cleveland team messaging "get the deal done" to give Tristan Thompson, who can't play, to your eyes, and to give J.R. Smith?
Play. He's not worth the money.
He's one-trick pony.
At the end of the day, if J.R. Smith, J.R. isn't what he was a couple years ago than what he is now.
Those two guys would flourish in Boston.
Let me ask you
flourish in Boston.
Flourish.
Doing what?
Flourish. He's getting good opportunities to hit buckets the same way Crowder is going crazy in Utah. Who's another beautiful
J.R. Smith better than Gerald Green? This point in their careers?
Thank you. I was going to say that too, man.
Personally, I'll take Gerald Green.
I'll take Gerald Green.
They're both, but it's close, right?
Gerald Green was out of the league.
But hands down, they're close.
They're close. They're similar. I just feel like Gerald Green is hungry.
And they're pretty similar. Both athletic guys.
You think Gerald Green can go to Cleveland and shoot these wild threes in Cleveland?
You can't tell me that LeBron's to blame for guys struggling. You can't tell me that LeBron's to blame for when guys going in Boston laying eggs. You can't tell me that.
No,
because George Hill is one, again, role players are better at home yes, they're better on the home because they're more comfortable in front of their fans. But that's a huge discrepancy. 3 points from your starting guards in a game Terry Rozier and Jaylen Brown shot 30. They ended up being like 8 for 35. They still outscored them 25-3 in Boston that last game, and they shot horribly, both of them.
I swear that he's so fast. I don't want to be interrupted. All I'm going to say about what he's saying, which bothers me, is Westbrook is averaging a triple-double twice in a row. He's my favorite player, and I've never brought up his triple-double. This is the second season in a row he's averaging a triple-double. He's not even first team all NBA. Damian Lillard won it over him this year. If LeBron averaged back-to-back triple-doubles, there would be a unanimous MVP. So what I'm saying is that when Victor Oladipo leaves Indiana, one player leaves thing and goes crazy, they say, well, he was restrained because of Westbrook. When LeBron happens, nobody blames LeBron. And when these guys like Crowder goes to Utah immediately and produces, nobody looks at LeBron. I can't stand the double. I would like LeBron if he were to miss a shot and people would blame him for it. I think, give him a chance. Like, why are you guys attacking him? I can't keep jumping. I can't support a guy where everything he does wrong, he gets excuses for, and everything he does right, he gets elevated.
So Kevin Love, as soon as LeBron's gone, goes back to being the Minnesota Kevin Love.
He won't be that Minnesota, but he will be an absolute 20 and 10 player.
If he was on the Raptors, for example, if you swapped Ibaka for Kevin Love, are they not
20 and 10 player
team?
First option player.
Well,
Is he not the best player on the team?
Ibaka's been terrible.
No, but just answer the Love question though. Would Love not be the best player on the team?
Best ball, fuck, those guys are bums, so I probably.
No, but DeMar's an all-second NBA guy this year.
He is?
Regular season, he made the second
regular season.
That guy made second?
It was legit.
Yeah, but Lillard also made Team 1, which reminds me of the DeMar thing. If, let's say, hypothetically, either DeMar goes to Cleveland or LeBron comes to Toronto, okay? And what does LeBron do with DeMar DeRozan, okay?
We win.
Okay, but I have a question for you though. If let's say LeBron comes here, let's say who goes out? Ibaka, let's just say for money reasons, okay? So Kyle's not dribbling anymore, okay? Well, we can put Kyle in the corner. He's going to shoot just fine, I think, right? Yeah. DeMar, get in the corner, shoot 3. What happens to DeMar?
DeMar's going to be defrozen like he was in the playoffs.
Just like every other Cleveland player that goes to play with Cleveland.
It's productivity with
But again, of course, DeMar's productivity is going to go down when he doesn't become the number one option. Because to be told.
Which brings me to my point.
So is Steph worse because Durant's there? Because Steph doesn't have the numbers he used to. Is Clay worse?
No, but the ball moves in Golden State.
Is Draymond worse than who?
Is Draymond worse than because in terms of offensive? Because Durant took a lot of.
No, but they swing the ball and Clay's suffering.
Okay,
that's what I was going to say. Does the ball move in Cleveland?
Clay would be a better player probably if he was first option.
Clay would be the perfect guy to play with LeBron.
But you agree with that statement. You agree that Golden State is much better than Houston talent-wise. They're struggling because they're doing exactly what you're saying. Durant is taking these crazy shots. He's not playing that well to me. Yes, he went crazy on.
So there you go. It happens to everybody. When you're the alpha dog, you're gonna get your stuff.
But they're not.
Paul George, Carmelo's. But they don't matter. Everyone's gonna go down if you're not the alpha dog. You're not the locomotive of the team. That's basically how it works.
That's not how it works.
So
disagree.
Okay. That's absolutely wrong. Disagree. So basically, we're gonna go back to the old thing.
You have 5 scores on the team.
So this when Michael hit the bricks, did Scotty's numbers not go up for when his first couple of years in Chicago? After Michael left? Of course they did. Yeah. He's the first option.
But it didn't drop. When he came back, it didn't drop like he's a bum. He was still an all-star. He didn't. Kevin, everybody that he's playing is still dropping.
One of those years, actually, when Michael wasn't there.
Yeah, but all-star MVP, that's playing good in a game. That has nothing to do with.
I understand what Lamar's saying.
That's an all-star MVP.
Again, when you have the number one, if you're not a number one option, if you go from of course it is, because if you're not a number one option, you go down to a second. Again, look at Kobe and Shaq. Kobe probably ended up, when he became the number one option, ended up becoming a better player.
Who?
You said you take Kobe over LeBron.
At this point.
So Kobe's got 5 championships. Shaq's got 3 MVPs from those. So what was your point? Was Kobe being carried by Shaq the majority of
Kobe won more rings without Shaq than Shaq's won without Kobe.
No, I believe they ended up getting about the same.
And you want to talk about bums? When the Lakers
Shaq had 4 with Miami and Wade.
Yeah, he's one with Miami and Kobe has 2 without Shaq.
Paul Gasol, and again, stacked team.
Does Smush Parker not have a ring?
That was a stacked team.
Does Smush Parker get a ring with Kobe?
I don't think so. I don't think he was on that.
Probably.
Because I was going to say, or 2 Gasol, was that his top guy when he won the other?
It was Gasol. He had Artest at his prime.
And when you say that Gasol and Love, like these are like
they're good players. LA.
I just want to say one thing. I just think that NBA fans can be selective sometimes. Like for example, like Victor Oladipo, he said himself that. He learned from Westbrook. Yeah. He learned how to be the explosive first option team leading player because of Westbrook. But because people have this agenda and narrative that they want to paint him as a cancer,
they won't even.
They just overlook that and say, "Oh, wait. Oh, look, he's doing better because he left Westbrook's tutelage, completely ignoring what Oladipo said."
What was Oladipo in Orlando? Was he the Oladipo of Indiana?
No. You gotta also realize. You gotta also realize
guys improve after
he was just a 1 or 2 year pro, right?
You said that
a lot longer than that.
No, he's only been in the league like 5 years.
4 years. He wasn't that good a player. That's the reason that they traded him out there.
He didn't play 4 years in Orlando.
No, he didn't.
He did not play 4 years.
Well, he was the Anthony Bennett draft. How many have they won? How many has Cleveland won since then?
I think he was 3 years in Orlando.
I think it was even 2.
I think it was 3 years.
I think the third year he got traded.
1 year. He's going into about his 6th or 7th.
I'm pretty sure he did 3.
Season, I
He
believe.
did 3 of the Magic.
Again, he wasn't anything great in Orlando. I mean, let's be honest here.
But what I'm trying to say is people like to pick and choose who they want to support for what reason. I feel like LeBron fans or witnessers, as Lamar calls them, I think their problem is they like to evade any type of blame for their guy. Because they feel like any little blame towards LeBron is like an indictment on his career. But it's not necessarily an indictment on his career. We're just analyzing him in the same way that we would analyze any other great before him.
Guy.
But they want
Don't you understand?
You give him
Don't you understand that? I could have said it better. Right? Anybody else we would have given that attack to.
If the man drops a 50 piece and he loses, you'll still give the man
I love Harden's game, but I just called him a bum because he's not producing.
And he hasn't been
producing. I gotta call it. I love Chris Paul, but he's always getting hurt.
Who's
having the best playoffs this year?
Statistically,
so by that definition, then it should be even more of an indictment on this playoff run if he can't beat Boston, a team without
the best playing with bums.
No, you can't adjust it. They have him. Boston doesn't have LeBron. Boston doesn't have the best player having the best playoffs.
Boston has the best team.
Boston doesn't
have a better team.
Who has the best player having the best playoffs?
Cleveland does.
So they should win.
That's it.
Wow, with one player over a whole team?
Now you want to
hold on. If he was going against Golden State, you'd have a case because Golden State's a better team. And that's the final roadblock for witnessers. Because when they get to the finals, everybody's like, oh, hold on, guys. If he wins, he's the greatest ever. If he loses, it's the best day that they win against.
And as a witnesser, you don't get to use that excuse when he traded half the team at the deadline.
Thank you.
And he didn't do enough to preserve the whole Kyrie situation in the offseason. They're in this predicament because of him. He doesn't get to use that as
the Kyrie situation.
Yeah, he could have.
The man didn't want to be in the man's shadow. Wanted his own team. That's his role. Tracy did that to Vince. Tracy did the exact same thing to Vince.
But what?
On a non-playoff team,
and he went to a non-playoff team, and he went crazy, and they won because of him.
And Kyrie, where do you want to go?
They traded Kyrie at that time for what they got, and that was their
best offer. Yeah.
So I mean,
we thought they actually won that way, and in fact, they ended up losing the trade.
Thomas was never.
And I'll be honest with you, and I go back to those trades. If they had Wade and they had Isaiah,
right? We talked about that too. Everybody's like, "Oh, old man Wade's out," and all these guys are like, they wish they had.
You see how good Wade played in Miami?
All of them played good. All of them played good in the
playoffs.
Hold on, LeBron. Exactly. Right?
You disagree with that?
He
played
that's his guy. Hold on, we'll let you defend yourself.
Wade ended up coming off the bench in Cleveland. Again, Wade's not what he was. Again, in Miami, he has a much bigger role because they don't have the freaking
role.
He's playing the same role. He played the same role.
18 minutes.
So you're telling me that the role that he played in Miami was the exact role that he was having?
Yes, absolutely. Hold the time. I'm on the bench. Time out. I got a question. No, I got a question. I have a point to make. At the beginning of the year,
Dragic and Hassan Whiteside was a bum, by the way.
Wade came off the bench.
I understand this. But at the end of the day, his role on the team was much bigger.
You know what?
Always to come off the bench and to be a spark on and
getting back to Dom because I've kind of left him in the dust for a while, Dom. People have very short memories, and that's what I want to speak on. At the beginning of the year, do you remember after 20 games, who was leading Sixth Man of the Year talk by a long shot? Dwayne Wade. Bleacher Report. I have screenshots. Dwayne Wade was the guy. He doesn't want to remember, but he remembers.
I'll be honest, I don't remember that.
That's the problem.
But it probably happened when they went during their 18-game win streak.
Exactly.
Or 16 or whatever they had.
The point that we've been making for the last 40 minutes is when people go to Cleveland, they're not the same. Now, is there a coincidence for 30 different guys that have been there in the last 3 years?
Okay,
who's played well in Cleveland?
Okay, so but when
Jeff Green.
So you're telling me that when LeBron went to Miami the first time, he wasn't a passenger. So what changed?
The first year, the best guy.
And
he was their best
took
player.
a second seat like a loser. I don't know why he did that.
Okay,
He was the better player.
how can you blame? So again, he's claiming that again when LeBron got there, LeBron was already again year 6 or 7 in the league or whatever it was.
Pardon me?
Both of them.
How many years that LeBron was in the league before he went to Miami? It wasn't 6 years.
It was 7 years. He got drafted in 03. I want to say, was it 9 or 10 final?
Yeah,
he played 7 years.
Okay,
7
years.
years. And again, so he's saying that Wade was still the best player, and LeBron was the dominant.
That was a real conversation. Yeah.
To me,
Okay,
it was.
so then there you go. So you can't tell me that, because when he goes to Cleveland, Wade becomes something different. When he went to Miami, Wade was still the best player according to him. So how can you argue this?
No, but do you remember how
LeBron-
Bosch's numbers dipped? Do you remember how badly Bosch's numbers
Bosch
dipped?
went from a first option in Toronto to a third wheel. Simple as that. His
There's no
numbers were
excuse-
always
there's
going
no
down.
excuse to be dropping that low.
Huh?
They dressed it very well.
Because again, Chris Bosh was exactly like DeMar DeRozan and Kyle Lowry.
But you know what?
Third option
What happened,
on decent
what happened when he
teams.
left? He got paid $118 million into leading the team in scoring. They upped his salary. As soon as LeBron left, they repaid Bosch $118 million.
Because he became what? He ended up being him and Wade ended up becoming those.
LeBron made Bosch
So
and
yeah,
Love
Chris
3-point
Bosh.
shooters.
Chris Bosh.
Yeah.
Again, so Chris Bosh to you is a perennial like Hall of Fame type player.
Is Draymond Green a Hall of Famer to you?
I take Draymond over Bosh.
No, I didn't say that.
NBA
I'm talking to witnesses who pretend that LeBron is battling all these Hall of Famers. Is Draymond Green a Hall of Famer in your eyes?
If
he stays healthy.
If he stays healthy, sure.
Okay, so
all those defense,
Averaging 14 and 10, right?
But again,
I'm just saying, it's your numbers guy, right?
Again, if the man wins 3 or 4 or 5 defensive player of the years, you don't think he's going to make the Hall of Fame? Easy.
Yeah. How many does he have now?
Easy.
One.
He's got one.
And you think
He's not going to win
more?
again. He's not going to win
He
again.
might win more. You don't know. He's still young.
He's only got that. I'm sorry, go on.
And again, Draymond is what?
Not a
Option
Hall of
number
Famer.
4. You don't know what he's going to be if he's
Draymond
Golden State.
doesn't have that.
He's not better than Bosch.
I think everybody knows Draymond doesn't have that in him. He can't make wide open threes.
And Bosch,
What does he do well
Bosch
on
can go
offense?
inside, outside, rebound, shot block.
Now, let me get to my point. Because we're kind of, I don't know when you have to go. We have to wrap up at some point. But what did LeBron do? What did LeBron do to both Chris Bosh and Kevin Love?
Made them worse.
Not only did he make them worse, but
And Bosch warned them. Remember, Bosch warned them before he got there.
He
It's going
made
to be
them
hard.
smart
He said it. I even give you the
they were
argument.
both. Kevin Love was the best post player in the league.
Well, he could post. Yeah, but he shot
In Minnesota,
Yeah,
Minnesota,
yeah.
probably the best post-up player in the league.
Definitely.
Forced him to shoot.
Oh, yeah,
Chris Bosh, would you not say he's top 5, top 3 in his position? Hold on, let me just go back. So they went from, this is the key, they went from playing here the whole time, he moved them both here and said, get out of the way. That's what LeBron did. And they've adjusted.
He's the alpha dog. He's the locomotive. Again, we use Boston. When Kevin Garnett got pushed onto that Boston team, he was always the man in Minnesota. Him and Stephen Marbury, he was always the man. Who was the man on the Boston team? Was it Kevin Garnett or was it Paul Pierce?
Paul Pierce was the
closer.
But
That's it.
it's not the proper
Penn.
comparison because when Kevin Garnett signed off on that
Ray Allen,
trade,
Penn.
when he approved
Ray Allen.
for that trade to go to Boston,
But they got better,
went-
they didn't get worse.
They got
better.
They got
better.
collectively
Well,
better
They were
players.
efficient.
Why? They were collectively better players. Kevin Garnett had no help in Minnesota. Decided that he needed Stephen Marbury was his only.
the reason why they became better
Ray
is
Allen
because
didn't do much.
he dedicated himself to becoming the defensive player of the year that he was with Boston that first season. So he signed off on a role that he wanted to do. Whereas you can say in contrast, Bosh and Love, they're being forced to do something that they don't
So
necessarily
what
want to
role
do.
did Bosh and Love think they were going to have with a LeBron James led team? They were going to be Kevin Love getting 40 points in Minnesota while he was the lead dog.
Who knows?
Or Chris Bosh with no real Toronto team over here dominating those. They were never going to get that role, so they signed up for
Their
it.
numbers were going down for
You're getting
sure.
tricked by. I know how to deal with witnesses. Can I just say, you guys are getting tricked into a nonsense conversation. There's a difference between someone's numbers dropping and someone not playing good. The Olympic team, all their numbers are not what it is on their regular roster, but their games are elevated.
Yeah.
Your numbers don't determine if you're playing good.
Yeah.
Boston and Kevin Garnett, Pierce, and Ray Allen, their numbers dropped, but they played good and so good that even Rondo was able to develop.
Yeah.
That LeBron doesn't do that. Their numbers drop and their productivity and their
lose their will
drop.
to win.
And wait, and the
So
one
they
more thing,
lose their talent.
I have one more thing to say.
Come on,
Thank you. Thank you. The truth. They like the truth. So what I'm saying is the last part is that them being
lose their talent.
the point is that you put your team in a position to score. Right? That's all that matters. Kevin Love, if you bring Kevin Love out and he's saying his excuse for that is he's the alpha, so you have to spread out. If that's not the best position for that guy to score, then what's the point of having him on the floor? And then when his numbers are bad, you're blaming the player? So if I'm a lefty and you keep putting me on the right, why are you putting me on the right and I put me on the left side?
Opposite of what
Who's the best passer in the league?
Chris.
The best passer.
The best passer, and that's the best court vision. I want to hear this argument.
I'd probably say Stephen Curry.
Stephen Curry's the best passer in the league.
I like Chris Paul.
No.
I'm not gonna. There's no like.
Okay, hold on. I'll say LeBron. What's your point?
Thank you.
I'll say LeBron.
He said what you wanted to hear.
No.
What's your point,
At the end of the day, even the non-witnessers, as you like to call, even they have.
You can even say Rondo. But
Yeah, even
go ahead.
Rondo's in terms of court vision and passing the ball. LeBron's one of the best in the game, if not the best in the game. He can pass the ball as the best of them. He's made some great plays.
He's a lot of good passes. He's the best at his size, maybe, but
he's the best at getting numbers. You can also say
Rondo's still a good. Rondo's a better passer.
Can I explain something?
Rondo has
passing someone with.
LeBron isn't stealing rebounds from people either, by the way.
Well, LeBron does the same thing.
He doesn't. All he does is get normal defensive rebounds. He doesn't jump and get offensive rebounds unless it's his own shot. He doesn't come in and try to do anything. Okay, so I'm just saying LeBron doesn't go in and get real rebounds. He gets the ones that fall to him. There's a big difference. Okay, so
and he goes like this.
That's not a rebound. That you like running there, spending your energy after you rested on defense to go run and get the rebound is not a rebound.
So you find that better than stealing other guys' boards?
Yeah, the one highlight. I'm saying your one highlight that you're going to say is the same thing you do. So that Adams highlight,
there's more than that.
I know, to your imagination, but there's not a lot.
But that's fine. Go back to
your
point.
Yeah, exactly. But you're the one who took it off. That's it. You guys don't want to hear the truth. You want to talk. You guys. No, sorry. Witnessers.
Okay.
You would rather talk 15 minutes about him stealing Adam, but you don't want to talk about all the times of LeBron. You're gonna watch that game. Every time we watch LeBron not cross half court. He doesn't play defense. He's walking.
The man's playing the whole entire freaking game.
Okay, so
the whole game.
Is that your
on
excuse
him on the bench?
I'm talking about defense. So for you to bring that up, that has to be your rebuttal.
So you're telling me that when the man goes nuts offensively, that's not the wear and tear from playing the entire game, which he's been doing he's been taking a minute and whatever. Especially at 33, that of course he's gonna get winded half the time. Anybody would. Who plays 48 minutes?
I'm saying, is that your answer for him not playing defense?
All I'm saying is that.
Is that your answer?
The defense that LeBron can play when you saw it in Game 6.
He can't play defense.
He can't play defense?
He cannot play defense. He hand checks people and pushes them off. He's not getting called for fouls, and he guards the guy with the probably third or fourth points per game on the team. That's the guy he's guarding.
So you've never witnessed LeBron shut down anybody? No, but in general.
In general, he does not guard the first or second leading scorer on the team.
Did LeBron not make the NBA defensive team at least a couple times?
Yeah, but Westbrook also won MVP. That's a different thing. But
LeBron. Hey, all I know is
he does not guard the first or second point per game player on any team. Anywhere he goes,
then he would have shut down Durant.
He doesn't go anywhere. It's a known fact.
Let me just.
He had DeRozan a lot of time. DeRozan did nothing.
DeRozan does nothing all the time.
But best shooter in
that's not who he's starting.
Yes, he was. On DeRozan on Lowry. Sure, he was.
No. You guarding someone is not the same as you switching or picking up someone on a fast break and guarding that person for a play. My defensive assignment is DeRozan. I got DeRozan. He's not doing that. He's ending up guarding DeRozan on a play. But that's a highlight to you. That's why he's a defensive player, because he has a weak side, spectacular block, chase down block.
When he completely took Jaylen Brown out of Game 3. When he just completely owned him in those first couple quarters, that wasn't good defense.
So, but is Jaylen Brown playing good in the series?
So
if he's owned him, why is Jaylen Brown
15 points in the first quarter yesterday?
Again, LeBron wasn't guarding him from the
majority of it. So he said that he shut him down. If he can shut him down, then why doesn't he shut him? Why is he having a good series? If I can stop someone, why are they having a good series? You're talking about one game because it boosts the situation. But that player you're talking about is having a great series. So if LeBron can stop him like you think he can, why is Jaylen Brown having a good series? It doesn't make sense. It's just excuses.
It doesn't make sense. If he shut him down in Game 3, then why didn't he guard him in Game 6?
He's not shutting him down in every game.
He's not shutting down anybody.
But if you want to pull up the stats on how guys
we don't want to pull up the stats. We don't want to pull up the stats because the stats lie to us.
He's the worst defense. That's a stat.
40-piece.
40-piece, but giving up 30 on the other side, right? Or whatever it is. So that doesn't really matter. Like I said, look, LeBron, I'll give him credit. Like the guys, he's doing everything to get like Don. Don in our group, shout out to Don. Don's after that game, he was fresh in his mind. Oh, LeBron's the GOAT. And it's like, time out. First of all, you're going against a team about Boston, which we've talked about. I want to get into it. I said the guy dropped 46, whatever it was. I don't want to hear about that when you're struggling to beat a team that probably shouldn't have made the playoff or been a 7 or 8 seed after both those guys went down. Okay? Now, whatever's happened. Ball handling is nothing I want to talk about with being the stamina and everything. If he was smart, now George Hill, all these guys they have, can we all agree they're ball handlers? Yes or no? Are they ball? They're point guards. Are they ball handlers?
George Hill, George Hill can handle the ball.
Yes.
Okay. There's lots of guys that can handle. You can get Jordan Clarkson to handle the ball.
Yeah.
You played basketball before, okay? And you can kind of compare this to soccer. If you're Zane knows this. If you're dribbling the ball up every play, it's very tiring. You can just coast down like I always say Terrence Ross, but you can just go in the corner, J.R. Smith, run down, jog down. You're not getting pressed. LeBron chooses to put himself in these situations. If he wants to get all these rebounds and dribble the air out of the ball every time running up the court, that's taking out energy that a lot of people don't even understand. So when he's tired at the end of the game, he's making himself tired by doing things he doesn't have to do. He can let George Hill be the point guard of the team, which is his job, but he's not.
You won't get assists that way.
He's not going to get assists. So it's like, even a center in hockey, if you want to delegate your role, you bring up the ball, there's a breakout, whatever it is. In every sport, center, mid, and soccer, everybody has a role in your sport. When you're trying to do everybody's job on the court, what he's trying to do, you're making yourself a lot more tired than you need to be. Oh, I can't play defense, I'm tired. Yeah, I'm going to sit home and drink some wine and put my feet up. Oh, did you say I was the most clutch player ever? Thank you. What's your name? All the guy does is glorify himself. Right? But when it was in Dallas, when you and the witnesser's greatest all-time player, what happened then? Right? When he was in his prime. In 2009, being 28 years old. What happened then? You let a few old men beat you. Tyson Chandler, who nobody wanted. Dirk Nowitzki, who was a top 10 player in the league. One guy. You have your one guy now in LeBron. All these arguments are only valid, like I said, when LeBron's winning. When he's not winning, which we talked about forever.
I just want to say one point about the playmaking, the passing. Do you remember that play, which you have to because you're a witness to it? Do you remember the time when he caught the ball at the free throw line and he was about to shoot and he did a wicked pass to who was it, man?
Nance, I want to say.
Yeah. Do you remember that play? It was a beautiful play. Even when I saw it,
and he went like that.
No. He went for an actual jump shot and Nance or someone was cutting
and he was wide open
and he threw it right to him. And
wide open in the lane.
Yeah, wide open. It was a beautiful play. What I'm saying is that when you're playing basketball, like if we go and play pickup. All of us go and play pickup. Okay. You can find people and get assists if someone was even tallying it throughout just playing basketball. Not me telling you guys, go here, here, here. They're going to do something. I'm just going to pass it to you and you guys shoot. There's a difference between that and putting people. LeBron can still, because he's a good playmaker, according to you, and you can see the floor. Kevin Love and these guys can still be in spots that make them better, where you can find them, instead of putting them where you want them, where they're there for your benefit, for your assist, for when they do hit a shot, or if they go ice cold, you can blame them. I'm saying you can still go within an offense, like a motion offense, a triangle, whatever it is. They don't do those things. I see LeBron about to go, and I see a bunch of guys, except for Tristan, run in to get his rebound if he decides to take it, and a bunch of guys waiting out to shoot threes. That's not basketball.
Yeah, the reason, again, they ISO a lot because they got nobody that can guard him.
No, okay, that's a good excuse.
Nobody. Mario Morris said he could do it, but he's been getting dropped 40 piece all the time.
No, but he's playing great defense. But the point
he is, but he's in shots.
Okay, so game
his three-point ability's been on.
Morris has been guarding him.
Can I? Because Joe knows I already talked to him. I tell him all the time. So he had 40-something in last game was game 6, right? So he had 40-something in game 5, right?
No.
In all the games at home, he's dropping 40, right?
Okay, the last game before this one, he had 40, right? And I went and checked because I was when he scored the 40 points. Out of 40 points, I think he had 44. 44 or 42. Out of 42 points, he had 13 free throws, which is fine, right? You can't touch him, that's fine. But a lot of good scorers get a high free throws. I won't even knock that. Out of those points, he had 4 shots that weren't layups. 1 was a 3, and 3 were jumpers. All the rest of his points were in the paint. 20 out of those points was on Rozier. Them switching and him scoring on Rozier, who's 6 foot. They're making it look like he's unstoppable when he scored 20, which is half of his points, not including the 13 shots that he took. So he had 20 points on Rozier, documented. Then he had 13, which is 33 points. And the rest of them are the other 2. Well, he had the 2 jump shots and then the 3. That's 7. So they're making it look like he's roasting people, torching somebody when he's scoring on a little guy. It's Boston's fault. They should have helped. I absolutely blame that. I absolutely blame that.
Because Houston did that to Steph. They get him in the pick and roll, and everybody just attacks Steph. Yeah, and that's fine. That's smart basketball.
But don't make it look like
Morris
he can't do it.
So what's he shooting from the? Since you got, what's he shooting from the 3-point line?
In that game, he was 1 for 4. and he's shooting 73% from the free throw line.
free
He
throw
crosses the
line
line on
is
every
struggle.
single thing.
Free throw line against
You
struggles.
want me to tell you why?
But his 3-point shooting's been off the chain in this series.
Yeah, that's fine. But the thing that you can blame, where everybody's off to the side and you're supposed to shoot and get your team a win, you were missing free throws and you're okay with that.
I think
No,
we're
he
complicating
struggles
things.
from the free
You know,
throw
there's
line.
one more game. There's a game 7 tomorrow. And I think it's going to come down to one thing. It's going to come down to defense. I feel like if you're saying, and if we're understanding that LeBron is the best defensive player on Cleveland or on both sides in the starting five, then he's going to have to he's going to have to show up against Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, because at home, which is where the game will be in Boston at the TD Garden, those guys have been playing exceptionally well. But I still feel like for guys who are in their first and second year, it's inexcusable. You can't, if you're LeBron, and if that's what's letting the other team get ahead of you on their court, you have to shut that down. Because Horford is playing good and Rozier is contributing.
You can't shut down 5 players.
Listen, those guys are playing well.
All those guys have had pretty decent series.
But it starts with those guys.
You have talent on your team too. You're not playing with bums.
Okay, so
Corver's a vicious scorer.
So let's go with this. Okay, so you got LeBron at the top.
Yeah.
Easily. You got Kevin Love as the second best player in the series?
Yeah.
Second best player in the series. Kevin Love. With the way that guy's been playing.
Kevin Love, they were begging for Kevin
What
Love.
we're talking body of work, or are we talking the last 3 games?
I'm talking about in this series, ability, even
Kevin Love can
going
both
forward.
shoot threes and rebound.
So Cleveland has the 2 best players in this series. Is that what you're telling me?
Not playing better. The 2
Kevin
best
Love,
They do
Kevin
have the
Love,
2 best
maybe
players.
maybe in ability, but not
Who's better, Kevin Love or Horford?
Who's had a better series?
No,
That's the
better?
same thing I just said. Who's better?
Who's
Kevin
better?
Love or Horford?
Horford's had a much better year than Kevin
Who's
Love.
better, Kevin Love
I'm
or
taking
Horford?
Horford. I'm taking
You're going on
Horford.
The guy that you hate and that you don't even think should have been an All-Star, you're going to take him over Kevin Love?
You got that interjected. I know Horford. The only problem I had with Horford was that I thought that Andre Drummond deserved it more. I never said that Kevin Love should have been an All-Star. Drummond was a better
Sounds like you're moving
Drummond-
goalposts.
yeah.
Goalposts, but go on.
Yeah, you never answered the question
Drummond
directly.
wouldn't even be able to
You
stay
never
on the floor in
answer
the
any
series.
question directly. Hold on.
Drummond would be able to
play.
play this
So
series.
going forward, you're taking Kevin Love over all those guys and going into next year even.
Yes.
No
he's the better
chance.
guy.
Tatum's are probably going to be better than Love by next year. I believe that'll be the case.
That's it.
He's the only one, and you have Love being better than Horford.
Yeah,
Horford this year has been better than Love, so you can't tell me that Love has been a second best player, not no. And to me, Tatum's I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be
Where are you
surprised
going with this, Igor?
if Jaylen Brown, like Jaylen Brown might have a better year than Love next year. He might be a better player going forward. In this series, it's been LeBron, and I would take about 3, maybe even 4 Celtics.
Whose fault is this?
I hear a bunch of excuses.
That's what I'm saying. It's excuses.
You guys are like Kevin Love. It's LeBron's
If you're
fault.
LeBron,
Love didn't lose his freaking talent. Is it LeBron's fault that Kevin Love can't guard Al Horford to save his life?
Kevin Love isn't playing tomorrow, so he doesn't matter. The bottom line is this: if you're
He didn't play yesterday
the bottom line is
either.
this.
They still
But they're
won.
at home. But listen, the bottom line is this: you're LeBron. What's standing in between you and an 8th consecutive trip to the NBA Finals is the Boston team that's led by Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum.
Hey.
You don't think that
give me
he
10 from
you can't stop
give
it.
me 10 from
Let's not talk about. We're talking about LeBron because it's
If
all
you get
about
those moves, then
LeBron.
what will you say?
Yeah,
what happens
if the role players actually play tomorrow and
not to your satisfaction.
0
Play
points.
basketball.
No.
Yeah, play basketball.
No, my satisfaction.
Yeah.
0
Play
points,
basketball.
2 points,
Yeah.
3 points from
Listen,
starters.
they can score, but what if
You can
Jaylen Brown?
put me out there and I'll probably hit a three.
Listen,
LeBron
they can
can
score,
score,
but what
LeBron's
if Jaylen
taking
Brown
40
and
shots
Jason
a
Tatum
game.
go off?
Okay.
Yeah.
Can I ask him a question?
If
ask
the
him
role
a-
players, again, there hasn't been, besides there's been
There's a lot of ifs in this.
Can I-
this
There's
round.
been one game.
There's a lot of ifs.
There's been one game this entire playoff
Igor, I have a
stretch
question.
where LeBron had a bad game and those guys actually came up and helped them get a W. It was the first one in Toronto, and Toronto blew that because they played like bums in the fourth quarter.
Igor.
Everybody knows it. They played like Rafael
Igor.
Rujo.
Igor.
And that was LeBron's bad game.
Igor,
Besides that,
we're not
Igor,
going to lost
yes.
to
If you're a GM and I offer you,
Washington.
if you're a
Oh,
GM,
well,
if you're the
I'll
GM for the Raptors,
Yes.
and I offer you Victor Oladipo for Larry, would you give me him?
Hell yes.
I have another
Because
question.
LeBron-
I have another question. If I asked you for Larry for Victor Oladipo when he was on OKC, would you have yelled that yes?
Sure, because
You're such a liar, man. You're such a liar. You're saying that now. You're saying that now. I'm saying then when you especially when that year when the
Kyle Lowry is a playoff.
You're not going to avoid this question. I don't care how much you talk. I don't care how much you talk. I don't care how much you talk. You're not going to avoid this question. When I was telling you that Lowry wasn't an all-star and you were screaming in that chair saying he was, and Victor Oladipo was not doing, and Victor Oladipo wasn't doing anything in OKC, and I offered you Victor Oladipo for the player that you thought was an all-star, would you have said yes to me?
Look,
would you have said yes to me?
During at that point?
Time?
No.
Exactly. Wait, I have another question. And the exact same way that you think Kevin Love is a bad player because he's playing with LeBron, is that he's going to be a good player when he leaves LeBron. And the same thing that you're talking now, saying that all these guys on the Celtics are better than Love, you will not say that when LeBron is away from him.
I'll take this argument. So Kevin Love's been getting criticized for years. It hasn't just been this
year.
They
did the same thing for Chris Bosh. They
want
to trade him too.
I don't think Bosh even
got him. Yes, he did.
So Kyrie leaves. Kyrie was again one of the top scorers there. Yep. You would think that Love would have more of a renaissance because he gets more opportunities to shoot. He hasn't had that much of a difference in terms of a year. Now that's LeBron James' fault. You tell me. So Kyrie leaves. That's like 20. What did he average last year? 26, 27.
Yeah.
So that's 27 points or whatever up for grabs. Shots up for grabs.
Is his numbers the same or did it drop?
Who?
Love's.
Love's should have raised.
No, but are they the same or did they drop?
Pretty much the same.
Okay.
That to me is a guy that is playing with either no confidence or he just basically was a big fish in a small pond.
Or maybe he's being stifled by the system.
If you and me go to a court, I'll make you better than you are.
He's being stifled by the system.
If you and me, I will tell you in your ear what we're going to do and you'll be better than you are. And you'll love playing with me. You make people, you see what your strengths are. Okay, Igor, anytime he's anywhere further, you can't shoot. Okay, Igor, when I drive, just cut it. I'll get you the ball. So I'll put you in positions to think.
So we had this argument about Russ. So when Durant was there, was Durant been any better on Golden State than he was in OKC, really? Because Russ was doing a lot of the same stuff.
I think Durant
was still the alpha dog. Durant still got his numbers. Durant still was the player.
Yeah, but Russell shot them out of those
great
games.
Players, you can play with other great players.
Guards can't. Forwards is very hard. Hold on, that's a big. What centers? What centers and power forwards that are like?
That's the question.
Answer that one.
Can I answer your question?
So those Boston. I watched some old tape with all those Boston teams from back in the 80s and whatever. Those guys played remarkably well. What was that? Larry Bird was what? Larry Bird was no shooting guard.
Well, we can't talk about 30 years ago. I want to talk about his right now.
He's right. I'm right. Those guys played well together. Yeah. It's got how guys gel together.
But can I ask you turned a real question into a rhetorical question. It's not rhetorical. Durant has basically the same numbers. You want me to tell you the difference? Is that Durant is not getting double teamed in Golden State because no team can afford to. He would get double teamed in OKC and still get the numbers. So it's a difference. You're making it look like it's the same.
So hold on. So when
I think he's better. I think he's better in OKC. It's easier for him to score now.
So when Kevin was the lead dog in Minnesota and they had nobody, he'd get double all the time and was still popping points. Now he doesn't get double. Where's his points at?
No, but he doesn't get the same touches. You know that. So that's a dumb thing you just said. He doesn't get the same touches.
He doesn't get the same touches, but he hasn't been anywhere close.
When LeBron leaves,
is Durant getting more touches in Golden State or was he getting more touches in OKC?
I'm going to check you next year. You know how many
stats,
Okay, can we just finish?
Really quick.
I won't say another thing about LeBron. I'm going to checkmate you next year. This is what's going to happen.
He's going to be 34 years old.
What do you have in Game 7 for Boston and Cleveland?
Finish up and we have to finish.
Two things I promise you. Number one, when LeBron leaves, right? And I pray it's Philly because it's going to prove my point more, is that you're going to see those guys' production drop. And this will be the third team he's done it on, and there'll be no more excuses for you. Then you'll see Kevin Love number increase, and then there'll be no more excuses for you. And then it'll be the end of that. Pardon me?
He's going another year.
I don't care where he goes.
LeBron goes. They definitely.
I don't care where he goes. I said wherever he goes, his numbers will increase.
Is he going to be a lead dog though?
Wherever he goes, he will be on the All-Star team. He will be a clear one of the best power forwards again in the league, and he will make the All-Star team.
He's not even 30. I think he's 29.
He will make an All-Star. He will make the All-Star team and be considered one of the best power forwards in the league the moment LeBron leaves.
That's kind of,
and then it's over for you.
But I just want to make one point where
it's over for you.
Yeah.
What I wanted to say is getting to the whole love thing. What I feel like what LeBron does is like you said, and what the Spurs do. Well, we talk about the Spurs all the time. What do the Spurs do? Why is Popovich so great? If you could just say in a sentence.
He's a good coach.
What does he do?
Good strategy. He knows to shut. Again.
Just quick, because I got to go.
He got fired. But Dwayne Casey, like on the defense he played against LeBron in that 2010 series. Dwayne Casey got a lot of credit for that.
Answer the
Hold
question.
on. I asked about Popovich. We got to.
Popovich is a good coach because Popovich strategizes properly. He gets his players in the.
But what's his stable of like being a strategy, dude? What do you think that Popovich?
He makes the best.
Hold on. This is what I'm saying. A lot of people don't really know things, right? And I'm not saying you, whatever. I want to compare Cleveland to Golden State right now, or Boston to Cleveland. Either the Spurs, I'll put the Spurs in Boston. You're gonna put Cleveland here, okay? And Houston's gonna be there too. Why do teams like the Spurs and Boston do so well? Less talent than the great one. So why are they?
They might have less individual talent, but they play better as a unit.
For what reason?
Could I answer for you?
Yeah,
Coaching.
They move the ball.
Yes, that's what I'm looking for, right? They move the ball. Do you look at Cleveland? You watch a Cleveland game. LeBron dribbles the ball up. LeBron drives. When LeBron gets triple teamed, he'll throw it to someone. If they don't make it, they're in trouble. Okay. What happens with the Spurs? What makes him so great is what people don't understand. A lot of people is Kyle Anderson, all these guys, DeJounte Murray. These guys, if you put them on any other team, they're not in the NBA for too long.
Sure.
Why does Pop make them so good? If you're good at shooting, you're just going to shoot the ball. If you're good at playing defense, you're just going to play defense. If you're good at passing the ball, you're just going to... People go there and they play great. What Cleveland does is, LeBron dribbles the ball, like I said, and everybody else, whatever they were doing before, Jay Crowder, before I was playing 3 and D. Here it's just like, and getting some touches and creating off the dribble. Here it's like, okay, LeBron, yeah, I'll go sit over here. What's the first thing he said? They have a system in Utah. Players don't want to go there. Now, we've gone enough rants. I want to get back to the East Final. It's been an hour. East Final. Who do you guys like winning the game? Boston. Okay. Close. And like a game story. What do you think is going to happen? LeBron has a good game. They lose. LeBron misses a last minute shot. Like, what do you think?
Yeah,
He's hoping for that.
Is it that close though?
Throw it to me, Joe.
Yeah.
Okay.
Order.
Thank you.
Order.
He will play if he gets his stats like the 30, the triple double, high 30 or 40. All his teammates' numbers will drop, and they'll blame the teammates, and they're going to get beat.
A close loss.
The only way it's going to be close is if LeBron has like one of those like normal, like his team is all playing good, so he gets like 29, 30, and somebody else steps up, and that's the only way it's going to be close.
So to answer the question, do you think it's going to be a Boston by like 4, 5, 3, like it's not a close game, or is it going to
Boston
be like
by 8?
Oh, so it's not really competitive at the end. Okay, so Boston by 8.
It can be competitive.
Okay, and LeBron scores about 30, and everybody chips in, but it's still not good enough.
I'll let him go because I might get interrupted.
As I predicted the last time I was here, I have Boston in 7. I'm going to stay with that. I feel like Boston has shown all throughout the playoffs that they're unbeatable at home. I feel like the way that they play, they have a formula that works for them no matter who they're playing, barring, let's say, Golden State. But more importantly, focusing on this series, I've just noticed a trend, and I feel like they're going to hold Cleveland under 90 points. I feel like LeBron may or may not get his, but it's going to be even more difficult.
So low scoring.
Yeah, I feel like it's going to be even more difficult without Love. It's going to be easier for them to kind of zero in on him, whether you could categorize them as a team that could stop him or not. And I just feel like, you know what, it's tougher for role players to play well on the road. So I think that's going to be against Cleveland, and I could see it being like 83 to 94.
You think it's going to be low scoring?
Low scoring. Definitely both teams under 100.
So a 10-point game, low scoring.
Yeah, you know, they'll cover the spread. They'll win between 8 to 12 points, but they'll both score under 100.
So you had Boston, you're sticking with Boston.
Yeah.
You had Boston, you're sticking with Boston.
Cleveland.
Okay, and who did you have going into the series? You had Cleveland going into
I
the
had
series?
Cleveland in 6.
Okay. And what do you think happens in this game?
In this game, I'm expecting much like I've been seeing for the majority of it. I think it's going to be the closest game in the series. I think it's going to be probably down to like the last couple possessions. And I think here's the thing that again the 10-0 thing is remarkable, especially for and I'll give the
What's the 10-0 thing?
Their home record.
Okay.
Very impressive, like especially considering again they're missing 2 of the All-Stars. To me, they win in Milwaukee. That was a real close game at the end, if you recall that. To me, this is a different animal. The young guys. There's going to be a lot of pressure on the young guys. A lot of those guys are rookies. Horford. You never know how they're going to. I know how one guy's probably going to play in Game 7. I don't know how they're going to react into this kind of pressure situation. A lot of pressure. Cleveland, again, you said the spread. Cleveland is going to be favored, whether it be a point or 2 there.
It's going to be like a 1 or 2 point game.
Yeah,
It doesn't really matter. Yeah.
But I'm sticking with that, as I've been telling you all year.
Mm-hmm.
Until somebody knocks off the locomotive of the East, I'm sticking to it. I'm taking Cleveland in a close game, and LeBron with another 40-piece.
Okay, so you think that Boston's going to win? LeBron's going to have a massive game, getting 40?
No. Cleveland's going to win.
Yeah. Sorry, Cleveland's going to win.
Cleveland's gonna win.
Boston's going to have a big game. LeBron's going to have a good game.
Yes.
And supporting cast. Does anybody step up, or do you think everybody's in the single digits?
Well, again, if nobody steps up, then it's definitely going to be an L. They're going to.
So who steps
up?
up?
I need George again.
Who's going to step up?
If they all play, like you just
They
said,
just said they're going to win.
No,
So
again,
there's no
he
guess.
asked me a question. If no one scores more than 10 points,
Well,
then
you
yeah,
need
you're
you
in
guys
the-
to get 10.
So
We're going to
who's-
need more than 10.
Who are you counting on to step up?
Yeah, who do you think?
I'm hoping that I saw the George Hill that I saw in the last game was the guy that I should have been seeing the entire series. I don't know what happens to him when he gets into Boston or whatever.
So
I'm expecting guys. I'm expecting Tristan to have a decent game. And again, to me, Love not being there. Again, more minutes,
more numbers for LeBron.
more numbers for LeBron, whatever it is. To me, defensively, they're a better team without Love there. I don't think anybody would probably argue that because that gives
I'd
other
argue,
guys.
but it's okay.
You'd argue
I
that.
do too, by the way.
I'd argue.
Horford's had a lot of trouble
Nance
with
is
more.
bad on defense.
Yeah, well, Nance won't
And
get
Tristan
a ton
can't
of
play
it.
40 minutes.
Tristan can't play 40. Nance to me, again, he's got bad defense, but again, to me, if they can keep Horford to contain him mostly, the game will be there. I need JR to give me at least 10.
Mm-hmm.
I need Korver to give me 10. I need give me three to four guys that'll give me 10 points, and that's all I think they'll need. 3 to 4 guys get over, and believe me, if you look at the stats in the playoffs, that's a
So
hard.
it's going to be status quo. Is what they're getting.
No. Because the status quo.
In their wins.
Well, again,